For those of you who don't know me, I'm Will, Mary's youngest, or she would call me William or her baby. After already having two rambunctious boys, she was desperately hoping for a third child was going to be a girl, so she only picked out one name, Emily. She was hoping Emily was going to be a sweet, sensitive girl who liked to talk a lot, was in touch with her emotions, and would go shopping with her. Sorry, Mom, that didn't work out. I've been told it took a few hours for the shock to wear off and for her to think of a boy name. I guess you don't always get what you wish for. However, I got everything that I could have wished for in a mom that loved me unconditionally, fostered a love of learning, taught me to be a good man, and encouraged me to go to church. She was always at my sporting events, even though sports weren't exactly her thing. She was an excellent role model, and I hope that I'm half the parent that she was. For those of you who ignored the obituary and sent us flowers, we're going to have to send you a thank you note. She wouldn't have it any other way. I'd like to share a few quick memories of my mom that bring a smile to my face. To this day, she's still the only person I know that didn't listen to the radio in the car, a book on tape, or a sermon as they drove around. Part of that was she was never a big fan of music, at least not in my lifetime. That greatly affected my music knowledge of classic 80s rock and my ability to carry a tune. However, I also think that she kept the music off because she was perfectly content to be with her thoughts or in prayer. She had a strong sense of self, and she needed that to raise 3 boys. As a teenage boy, going back to school shopping with your mom isn't exactly high on the list of things to do. Well, each year I got to do that with my mom. It was a tradition that started with my grandmother Gooding when I was a little boy, but my mom carried it on. The older I got, the less I wanted her to tag along. The straw that broke the camel's back was on a trip to Abercrombie & Fitch at the Park City Mall when I was about 14. I was wandering around the store trying not to be seen by anyone I know when I catch a glimpse of my mom walking up to the main counter with her fingers plugged in her ears. I can remember thinking to myself, please, Mom, just don't embarrass me, but it was way too late. She was complaining to the manager, who was probably only 21, that the music was too loud, that she couldn't even think, so how was she going to be able to shop? Let's just say my mom was not their target audience. And that was our last back-to-school shopping trip. Mom loved to read, and she read a lot to us as kids. One tradition that came out of reading was her word of the week. I'll always remember the wooden apple recipe holder that sat on our kitchen table. In place of a recipe card, it always had a note card with the word of the week. It was usually a word that she encountered in her reading that she didn't know or wasn't 100% sure of the meaning, so she would go to the dictionary and look it up. She'd write it down on the note card and encourage us to learn it and add it to our vocabulary. She always urged us to do well in school and never stop learning, even after our schooling ended. Her love of learning made the disease even more devastating. Unfortunately, it's hard to talk about my mom without mentioning her dementia, which dominated so many years, the later years of her life. It's a horrible condition that slowly robbed her of her memories and her ability to do so many things she loved, like cooking, quilting, reading, and babysitting her grandkids. While it took so many things away from her, it was never able to rob her of the core of who she was. Even in the last few months, I remember my daughter Ella crying, probably because I was holding her and not my wife Kristen. But Mom walked as quickly as her body would allow to come over and see what she could do to help. While her condition prevented her from picking up her granddaughter and soothing her, that little action epitomized my mom. She was always willing to help anyone in need, especially her grandkids. Since she was always willing to help others, many people jumped in to help her. However, I need to take this time to publicly acknowledge a few people that went out of their way, especially in the last few years. Her next-door neighbor, Carol, Marilyn Sander, continued to take her out. Katie Zook took countless walks with her. Susie Ladinier would fly in from Georgia to stay with her and relieve my dad. And Michelle, my sister-in-law, spent lots of time keeping her happy and on the go. Thank you so much for your kindness to her. But most of all, I have to thank my dad. You lived up to the marriage vows you took almost 50 years ago. For better or for worse, you were by her side, helping her and loving her like a devoted husband should. I know the last 10 years didn't turn out like you planned, but you took everything in stride and did an amazing job taking care of her. From everyone who loved Mom, thank you. So as you're driving home today, turn off the radio for a few minutes and think fondly of some memories you have of Mary and ponder the word of the week, munificent. It means to be characterized by great generosity. Give munificently of your time, your talents, and your money. It will make her smile. Mom, I'll always be your baby. I love you.